What's up, losers? I'm Ito, this is Zero Loser Studios, and you're about to watch another superhero video. I'm so excited for this week's video because it involves some favorites of mine that I personally don't think quite get the respect that they deserve. Actually, every single one of the heroes today falls into that category because today's topic is underrated supers. Now, underrated can mean a lot of things, but in the context of this video, I'm referring to potential and power and abilities that people just don't give them credit for. All of these characters are unique in their own ways, but what I love so much about them is that they don't have to be in the spotlight to showcase their skills. So no Men of Steel or Dark Knights today, guys. Sorry, not sorry, but I promise you won't be disappointed. First up is one of my favorite X-Men of all time, right up there with Storm herself. Bobby Drake, Iceman. Most people think of Iceman as one of the background X-Men, but the truth is, Bobby's history with the team is just as rich as Cyclops' or Storm or Jean Grey. In fact, he's the second official member of the original X-Men team, right behind Cyclops himself. Having been around since 1963's X-Men #1, very ambitious title by the way, the character has grown immensely issue after issue. Did you know that before he had full control of his powers, his body was covered in snow instead of ice, making him look like a frosted sleep paralysis demon? Later on, he gained the ability to cover himself in a hard layer of ice, protecting him from concussive damage. But eventually, he gained the ability to turn his entire body into an incredibly strong biological form of ice. As the years have passed and foes have gotten stronger and stronger, so has Bobby himself. As a result of nearly fatal encounters and having to push his powers to the absolute limit, he's found himself accomplishing incredible feats such as augmenting his body to form deadly spike protrusions, using ambient water vapor to temporarily increase his mass and overall strength, and using that same water vapor to regenerate nearly any amount of damage to his shattered ice form. Like Storm, his powers have been proven to be subatomic, meaning that even though he doesn't usually go for the deadly attacks, he can freeze any object or person into ice themselves completely, like the not biological, very dead kind of ice. Although he hasn't reached his full potential in the comics yet, Bobby Drake is considered an Omega level mutant, the highest classification there is, earning him a spot in this video and a special spot in my frozen heart. Alright, this next one is sure to surprise you with just how powerful they really are. The Martian Manhunter. Jean. The extraterrestrial first appeared in Detective Comics number 225 back in 1955. He was originally debuted as a Martian transported down to Earth by the experimental teleportation beam created by Dr. Saul Erdel, and then stranded here after the doctor dies soon after from the shock of events. John then decides to bide his time on Earth by taking up the identity of Detective John Jones. I'm sensing a theme, and the secret identity of the Martian Manhunter to fight crime. Personally, I think it's sick and original, but the character was created as a stand-in for Superman in the Justice League comics to prevent the Kryptonian from overexposure, in the same way that Oliver Queen, better known as the Green Arrow, was a stand-in for Batman. Even though Manhunter is an original founding member of the team, he's often overshadowed by the other star members like Superman, Batman, and the Flash. Some of his obvious powers are flight, super strength, and invulnerability, but his crazier powers include his intangibility, invisibility, optic blasts, telekinesis, and telepathy. He's easily the strongest telepath on Earth and one of the strongest in the entire DC universe. He can read the mind of every human on Earth all at once and is able to use his telepathy to project illusions, alter memories, establish mind links, and even completely control others. He's so cool, and even with his significant abilities, he still remains one of the gentlest members of the Justice League. Now, while we're still in the DC universe, there's still one more character I want to bring up before we switch back to Marvel. I've got 3 words for you.
Azrath, Metreon, Zinthos!
Yup, most of the millennials watching right now are probably grinning like idiots as they're transported to a simpler time of ignoring your homework all weekend and then doing it last minute on the bus ride. Of course, I'm talking about the Teen Titans, and specifically everyone's gothic favorite, Raven. Now, before you ask me how can Raven possibly be considered underrated, ask yourself, what other works can you really remember her from besides this or this? Well, the character first appeared in DC Comics Presents number 26 in 1980 and was a founding member of the New Teen Titans. She's half human and half demon, her father being the all-powerful Trigon, one of the biggest and baddest villains in the DC universe. Raven's villainous bloodline is a consistent part of her character, as she's often fighting off the pull of her nefarious destiny. She's reserved and afraid to get close to anyone lest she puts them at risk of falling victim to her evil dad's wrath, but she's undoubtedly grown attached to her fellow team members and vice versa. She's first and foremost an incredible empath, meaning she can not only sense emotions from others, but can alter them completely. She was once even able to accidentally have Robin believe he was in love with her. No dating apps necessary. She can also take away emotions fully and has been shown taking away the pain from a wound to speed up her teammates' healing factor. On top of her empath abilities, Raven is also able to control her soul self, which is sort of like her astral body, and use it to do various things like attack an enemy, defend against physical and energy attacks, travel long distances, and so on. If that isn't already cool enough for you, she's also been shown having control over shadows and darkness. And later on in her comic book run, she's developed a knack for mystic arts. Girl's kind of freaky, I'll give you that, but isn't that why we love her so much? Okay, this last one is my favorite one on this list. The honor falls on Clint Barton, aka Hawkeye. First appearing as a villain in Tales of Suspense number 57 in 1964, the Archer soon showed his true reformed colors and joined the Avengers team in the Avengers number 16. Just a year later. He's been a very prominent member of the team and has been featured in every volume since. As a young kid, Clint was orphaned in a car crash and left alone in the world with his brother Barney. A few years later, the two brothers ran away and joined the circus, where Clint garnered the attention of the swordsman and Trickshot. Not knowing of the two's villainous history, Clint is taken under their wing and trained until further events eventually lead to the villains going on the run and Clint being beaten nearly to death. He jumped from circus to circus before finally having a run-in with the Avengers as a reluctant villain, and then later on being extended an invitation to join the team as an honorary member. Now, don't get me wrong, I do love the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and Jeremy Renner's portrayal is enjoyable, but the Hawkeye from the movies is very different from the Hawkeye of the comics. You don't get to see it much in the movies, but Hawkeye is so much more than just a guy with a bow and arrows. He's been trained by Captain America, S.H.I.E.L.D., and multiple others. No one comes even close to him in marksmanship, but he's also readily capable with nearly any weapon given to him. In fact, he's said to be able to turn anything into a deadly weapon. He's also a master of martial arts and hand-to-hand combat. When he briefly dropped the Hawkeye moniker and adopted the one of Ronin, he displayed an imposing skill with the blade. The dude's led his fair share of Avengers teams and has even been offered Captain America's shield at one point, though he declined the offer. Seriously, out of everyone in this video, this is my top recommendation. The fourth volume of Hawkeye that came out in 2012 and was created by Matt Fraction and David Aja is probably my absolute favorite series of comic books. The art alone is stunning, but you really get a good glimpse of the character's everyday life, running an apartment building and defending his tenants against street-level criminals. A man of many talents indeed. I could go on and on about these characters, but I'd rather leave you guys with a spark of curiosity in hopes that you'll look into them yourselves. In the big flashy world of comic books, it's easy to lose yourself with the big blockbuster superheroes. And I love those dudes as much as the next guy, but there's some true gems hidden behind them that I truly enjoy. The underdogs. Let me know in the comments if you're surprised to hear about any of these characters, or if you think you have one that would have been perfect for this video. While you're down there, give us a like and consider giving Zero Loser Studio a subscribe. Until the very next video, I'll see you later, losers.